Hi, I'm Alex, welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. In today's video we're going to be discussing Golden Nugget Online Gaming and specifically 3 recent developments which we as investors in the company should be aware of and potentially very excited by. The first one of these is the S1 filing filed around 10 days ago on a Friday after hours, but also the more recent news development of the entire Golden Nugget group, the Landry group, the physical casino and the restaurant business also merging with a SPAC and going public. We'll look at exactly what this means for us as investors in Golden Nugget Online Gaming, and I've saved you the hundreds of pages of reading in the S1 so you don't have to. If you have followed the Golden Nugget videos on this channel before, you'll know that we have discussed why the Golden Nugget Online Gaming SPAC made so much sense, and here it is, it's playing out in reality. And again, we'll touch on why it does make so much sense to be splitting the online gaming business from the brick and mortar business. And again, we'll look at what this means for us as investors in Golden Nugget Online Gaming. The second massive thing we're going to discuss as part of this video is the news that one of the largest, most infamous bulge bracket banks has been building a stake in investing into Golden Nugget Online Gaming. We'll talk about who they are, why this is so exciting, and what it means for us as investors down the line. However, this could be great news for the stock price. And the final thing we're going to address in this video and discuss is why there hasn't been that much focus within Golden Nugget Online Gaming around the PR. A number of people have asked me in the comment section of previous videos why they haven't focused more on PR and pushing the merger more. Obviously the great development of them moving into Michigan went fairly under the radar, and as a result the really positive news flow that we're seeing isn't driving the same level of increase in stock price that one would expect. However, there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for this, and we'll also, as part of this video, explore that. If you're new to the channel and you like investing related content, then hit that subscribe button. The YouTube algorithm doesn't like my unpredictable upload schedule, so as a result oftentimes videos aren't showing up on people's homepages. If you want to make sure you don't miss videos when they are uploaded, then if you hit that bell button next to the subscribe button, that should make sure they do turn up on your homepage. If you like the video, please smash the like button. It's so helpful in pushing the channel to a wider audience. And as always, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is purely for educational and entertainment purposes only, but let's get straight into it. So, huge developments over the last 10 days from a transaction perspective. Firstly, the S1 was filed, and then more recently the announcement that the rest of the business, the 5 casinos and the restaurant business, would also be merging with another SPAC to go public as well. Now, we have discussed it on the channel before, we've discussed the rumours, we've discussed why it all makes sense. And so here we have it, it's happening. Tilman's casino and restaurant empire is merging with Fast Acquisition Corp, the SPAC which will be taking it public. In this video, we're not going to discuss the ins and outs of that transaction. This is purely about what it means for us as investors in Golden Nugget Online Gaming. So lots of news over the last 10 days, and let's follow that through in chronological order. So firstly, around 10 days ago, on the Friday after hours, Golden Nugget filed an S1 filing. In this, there were 2 main things to note and 2 things of key importance. Firstly was around the warrants, and the secondly was around a secondary offering. Now let's talk about the warrants first. This filing was not unexpected, given where the stock price currently is and the ability to execute the warrants now. In order for SPACs to dilute the shareholders and issue the shares which are required as part of the warrant execution, this filing is required. So in short, this part of it is not surprising at all. Now for those that are wondering about warrants and how they work, I will prepare a completely separate video because it has relevance for a number of other SPACs as well, whether the warrants are executed with cash or it's cashless exercising. In that video we'll go through the ins and outs of exactly what this means for shareholders, for holders of the warrants, and for the company itself. However, all we need to know from this is that Golden Nugget Online Gaming is permitting cashless exercising of the warrants. What that means is that when the warrants are exercised, Golden Nugget won't receive the cash from the holders of the warrants, but at the same time, the shares are not diluted by the same magnitude. So in short, Golden Nugget isn't going to get a large sum of cash. However, the shareholder base is not going to be diluted as much as it could be if they insisted on cash execution. Now personally, I'm not surprised by this at all. We know the business is very cash generative. We know Golden Nugget Online Gaming doesn't need the cash for growth, it doesn't have upcoming cash requirements. And so personally, I see this as good news. The company doesn't need the cash, so it's saving shareholders from being diluted further. Now the second part of this S1 filing was the secondary offering. Now this is the part that had me scratching my head a little bit more and trying to understand what was going on and why. In very simplistic terms, a secondary offering is where shareholders of a specific share, as is outlined in the document, in this case it's Tilman, his entities and Jeffries, to potentially sell their shares. So not a transaction in the market which would impact the share price massively, but a private sale. Now again, this in itself is not concerning. We have seen it in a number of SPACs and in a number of companies in general before. However, it had me scratching my head as to understanding the rationale and the motives for this. Personally, I really don't believe Tilman wants to sell his stake in Golden Nugget Online Gaming. He knows there's a massive amount of growth still to be delivered, and in turn that drives a massive amount of incremental value. For example, expanding into Michigan itself should be driving a much greater impact in the valuation than it has already. For those doubting this point, if Tilman really did want to be selling his stake, surely he would have been pushing the PR and pushing that angle much more of this transaction to drive up the value of the Golden Nugget Online Gaming stock so he could sell his stake. In fact, the opposite of that is true. He's kept very quiet on the whole matter, and so I do strongly believe he doesn't want to be selling his stake just yet. Then I came to the thought of perhaps Jefferies wanted to sell their stake. That makes a little bit more sense, and at this point in time seemed like the only rational explanation for it. Then we had the massive news of the other transaction. The news breaking that the Golden Nugget casinos and his restaurant empire would all be going public with a merger with another SPAC. And this is where it all makes sense. This SPAC will hold Tilman's interests in Golden Nugget Online Gaming. And so, as a key step for this other transaction to complete, the S1 needs to be filed so that the shares can be transferred to the SPAC. Again, we need more information to confirm this point. However, at this point in time, that's my strong belief that this is the case. I will do more digging, and as I understand more, of course I'll let you know. So, what does this ultimately mean for us as shareholders in Golden Nugget Online Gaming? Well, in reality, it means very little. It doesn't change anything. One potential positive is that it may bring additional investor interest into the company. It pushes the entire transaction into the public eye more, and in effect is like free PR. However, in reality, it really doesn't change much for us at all as investors in Golden Nugget Online Gaming. Now, if you have followed the Golden Nugget Online Gaming videos on this channel before, and for a while, you will know this is something we've discussed a couple of times before. The reason and the rationale for why splitting the online gaming business from the rest of the business makes so much sense. Ultimately, online gaming businesses are valued at much higher multiples than their brick and mortar and their physical location counterparts. Given the small component of the overall group's EBITDA which is generated by Golden Nugget Online Gaming, the value that this part of the business generated is almost diluted and it's not recognised by the market. By splitting the two businesses, it allows Golden Nugget Online Gaming to be trading at a fair valuation multiple for the business, and in turn that creates greater value for Tilman's holding. So ultimately in this situation, the sum of the parts is greater than the value of the combined business, and that's why it makes sense. Now the second massive development we want to talk about is the fact that a massive bulge bracket bank have been building a stake and investing in Golden Nugget Online Gaming. And that bank is Morgan Stanley, amongst others, as you can see here. Now it's important to note here that this is the same Morgan Stanley that's very bullish on the overall US online gaming sector. They currently have a strong buy rating for DraftKings, and when they released that it did have a positive impact on the stock price. And yes, it's the same Morgan Stanley that has a very strong and very well respected by the market equity research team. An analyst from Morgan Stanley issuing a buy rating for Golden Nugget Online Gaming would be massive news and be really positive for the stock price. Yes, whilst Benchmark releasing their report is positive, names like Morgan Stanley carry much more gravitas and will have a much greater impact on the stock price. Personally, I'm very excited by this. What's more, I think we can expect to see more professional investors building their stake in Golden Nugget Online Gaming. BlackRock, JP Morgan, Vanguard, all of those names are large investors in DraftKings. And so personally, given we know they're interested in the sector, I would not be surprised if we saw them investing into Golden Nugget Online Gaming as well. Now, I will forgive people who do seem to believe that the lack of PR is a deliberate action to enable these larger names, these big banks, to come into the stock, make their investments before the PR hype and the PR drive, enabling them to build their positions before the price goes crazy. So on that one, it really is a time will tell situation. And that point leads us quite nicely onto the final thing we're discussing in this video, the lack of PR. Now there has been loads of positive news released about Golden Nugget Online Gaming, however the impact has not been seen in the stock price. The stock price hasn't increased as one would expect based on the positive news. Many other companies have full PR teams which are focused on driving this news and making sure that all investors and the market is informed of it. That's not the case with Golden Nugget Online Gaming. And for me there's two parts to this argument. Firstly, the team is solely focused on delivering the strategy. As a public company, missing the strategy or not delivering on it correctly would cost them their jobs. It's a massive opportunity, there's a real first mover advantage here, and doing it right is absolutely essential. The management team know they have to absolutely nail the opening in Michigan and in the first few months, and then they can worry about everything else. Personally, this dedication and this focus on delivering the strategy is certainly not something we've seen with every SPAC recently, and for me, is great to see and is a real positive. Now the second part of this, which is important to keep in mind, is the nature of the transaction. Golden Nugget Online Gaming is a carve-out transaction. It used to be a division of the group. However, as part of the transaction, it broke away from the group and now operates as its own independent business. As we know, Golden Nugget Online Gaming is still reliant on the group for a number of services, and as part of this it needs time to establish a number of other functions which it doesn't have in place yet. PR, IR, marketing, all being functions which it doesn't have currently and which it needs to build out. Previously it relied on the group's infrastructure. However, this is something that in due course they need to hire people focused on and bring in-house. So yes, whilst I can understand the frustration that the good news coming out isn't driving increases in the stock price as we would expect, personally I don't see it as a negative. Ultimately it's just a matter of being patient. The fact they're delivering on the strategy and not messing that up is massively important. And for those of us who've been invested in Golden Nugget Online Gaming for a long while, and those who have a long-term perspective here, it's all about patience. We've been patient so far, and we have to be patient going forward. So look, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash the like button. If you're new to the channel and you like investing related content, then hit that subscribe button. And as always, let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I find it so interesting to hear everyone's perspectives, opinions, beliefs, so please get involved. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.